This is Disney World's most underrated restaurant. Tonight, we are dining at Flying Fish. Located on Disney's Boardwalk, this signature restaurant is sure to blow you away. I'm filling you in on my favorite dishes, ordering their most popular menu items, and by the end of this video, I think you'll be ready to make a reservation yourself. Because Flying Fish might just be Disney's best kept dining secret. Whenever anyone asks me where to go, if they're celebrating something, want to splurge, or just simply want fantastic food, one of the restaurants I always suggest is Flying Fish. And with a name like Flying Fish, you might assume that they're serving great seafood, and while you'd be correct about that, they have so much more than just great seafood. In fact, I think they have one of the best steaks on property, but that's not why we're here today. We're actually here because a few weeks ago, I took my dad here for his birthday, and I had a dish I hadn't had in so long. It was so phenomenal that I was like, yeah, I have to share this with you guys. So a few weeks later, here I am, back at one of my favorite spots. And if you're wondering why I say Flying Fish is underrated, here's a look at the day of reservation availability. It is like this every time I dine here, and I seriously do not know how or why, because it is so good. It just makes me so upset seeing this restaurant so empty like this. It just does not get the love that it deserves. And I hope after this video you guys hype it up and you guys come check it out, because seriously, this restaurant is just fantastic. Now, like I said, the last time I was here was with my dad for his birthday just a couple of weeks ago. It's actually kind of funny. I was sitting at this exact table with him in this exact seat, and I just had the best meal, and I was like, you know what, it's time. I need to come back and share this restaurant with you guys again. I dined here about a year ago at this point, and of course loved everything. I think I got the espresso martini, and it was really good. I think I got the strip steak, and of course I love the strip steak here. And I can't remember what I think I had one of the newer appetizers that's no longer on the menu, and a newer dessert that is no longer on the menu. So today I'm going to kind of show you guys the staples, things that are always on the menu, some of my favorite things, and some of the stuff I got last week or a couple weeks ago with my dad that I forgot how good they were, but I will not forget any longer. And before we get into the food, we of course have to start with a nice cocktail. I actually believe the only drink I have ever had from this menu is the espresso martini, which I don't even know if it's on the menu. I think it's on the dessert menu, but they have a couple of different cocktails. I've never had any of them, so I might have to ask my server for some recommendations. The Cucumber Collins sounds kind of good, as does this Hickory Mellowed Gin and Tonic with some elderflower liqueur. Both of those sound right up my alley. But other than that, they've of course got some beer and cider, and then they've got quite the extensive wine list. I know a lot of people talk about their wine list here, and you can see they have so many offerings. Wow, oh my God. Did I even skip a page? No, it's just a thick page, but there are so many different wines here. Ultimately, I decided to go with the Hickory Mellowed Gin and Tonic. This has a lime-infused hickory-aged Plymouth gin, Saint Germain elderflower liqueur, and tonic for $15.50. It is so hot out there today, guys, so this drink looks and sounds like it's gonna be quite refreshing. I'm excited to try it out. Cheers to Flying Fish. That's really interesting, but it's good, and I like it. That flavor of the hickory smokiness definitely comes through, but not too much. I almost wish there was a little bit more smoky flavor, because I kind of enjoy it. I wasn't sure how I would feel about that smoky flavor in a refreshing, bubbly, limey drink, but I do kind of like it. I think it pairs well. You get those lime flavors, you get those floral essences from the Saint Germain, and I think it's tasty. It's super refreshing, and it's honestly just what I needed. I feel like it does taste similar to what the Cucumber Collins would taste like, and I'm glad I went with this one. It's something different, it's something new, and this is my kind of drink. You guys know if I'm not ordering an espresso martini, I'm going for something with a little bubble in it. And this is right up my alley. I would definitely order it again. And the more I sip on it, you know what it's kind of reminding me of? A bubbly limeade with a hit of smoke. So yeah, super refreshing, perfect for a hot day. Honestly, I feel like this would be the perfect drink to get in Epcot and walk around the park with. Because like I said, it's rough out there right now, but Yeah, this is just what I needed to kind of cool me off. Now, before we get into the menu, our first order of business is the bread. And the bread at Flying Fish is serious. We've got a loaf of potato and chive bread served with a black sea salt whipped butter. And this bread, another thing that is really slept on. You don't hear anyone talking about this bread, but I'm telling you guys, it's so good. The bread is served warm, and what I really like about it is that the potato provides almost like a unique texture in your mouth, and you can really taste the chives in there. Like, look, there's actual chunks of potato. Like, this isn't just like a potato roll, like a potato bread. Like, there are chunks of potato. I'm pointing to one right here. Can you see it? It's crazy. And this butter is just amazing too. Look at how soft this is about to be. Oh yeah, and that black sea salt on top too. I love a freshly cracked salt on top of some soft butter. Tell me that doesn't look like the perfect bite. It's crusty on the outside, it's fluffy on the inside, and then you get those soft bites with the potato. And like I said, you could really taste the chives in there. It reminds me a little bit of like a sour cream and onion kind of vibe, and that salted butter, of course, just puts it over the edge for me. This is some really good bread, and I love that it's served warm, of course, as well. Disney signature restaurants, like I said, they just do bread and butter right, and again, no one's talking about this one here, but here in Flying Fish, it's so good. Well, let's go over the menu, guys, starting with the starters. Right up top, we've got my favorite, the Lobster Bisque. I really think this is probably my favorite Lobster Bisque on property. We also have the slow roasted pork belly BLT. That is probably one of the more popular appetizers on this menu. I know a lot of people really love it, and I do too. They also have the compressed heirloom melons. I believe that's like a seasonal dish, probably here for the summer. It has some burrata in it. Sounds nice and refreshing. They have some mussels over here with some trout roe, some chili oil, and a Chardonnay broth that actually sounds delicious. They have some cheese. They have a seasonal gazpacho as well as a shrimp cocktail. If we move on down to the entrees up top, we've got that potato wrapped red snapper. Again, this is the entree that this restaurant is known for, and that's why I'm here today. It is so good. They've also got this like seafood pasta. I had this the first time I was here. I remember it just being like okay, but it has a bunch of different seafood in it. You've got shrimp, lobster, clams, mussels in like a tomato broth. They have scallops. I know a lot of people love the scallops here too. They have a sea bass, the Char crusted New York strip. Oh my gosh, guys, if you are a steak fan and you haven't had this, amazing. They also have an ash crusted salmon, chicken, a miso glazed shiitake gold rice galette, that is their plant-based dish, and then a filet, which I hear has some new sides. It has like this truffle potato kind of bread pudding dish. I hear that's kind of what it's like, and I hear it's amazing, so I'm kind of tempted to try it, but we got to stick with the original plan of the snapper, so maybe I'll have to come back for that soon. And then on the bottom we've got some enhancements. Of course, there's a lobster tail you could add onto your meal. You could also add on some scallops or some shrimp. There are seriously so many hits on this menu, and I know what a lot of people like to do sometimes when there are enhancements is order like a couple appetizers and then some enhancements and some sides, which you are able to do. You don't have to order an entree to be able to get the enhancements. So you can add an enhancement onto your entree, or you could just get an enhancement, whichever you prefer to do. But we're going to start off with some starters here, and for our first starter, I ordered the Lobster Bisque. This has an aged brandy as well as a chive oil for $19. Now this bowl may look large, but do not let looks deceive you. This is a very small portion of Lobster Bisque for just about $20. That's my only issue when it comes to this Lobster Bisque, especially because it is so good that it always leaves me wanting more. But it is a very tiny portion for about $20, but it's so good. I can't wait to dig in. You can see the chive oil as well as some creme fraiche on the top, and you can also see the chunks of lobster. I always like to see some chunks of lobster in my Lobster Bisque. I don't like it to all be blended. I want to see some chunks of lobster, and look at that. We've got a nice big chunk of our lobster in there, so we'll give it a big stir, get all those flavors incorporated, and give it a try here. What I love about this Lobster Bisque is that it's so well balanced. You know, a lot of the times when you get Lobster Bisque, it's so creamy that it's like so heavy, and it's almost hard to finish a whole bowl. That is not the case here. It's creamy without being like so overly heavy. And I have that problem with a lot of lobster bisques, like especially the one over at Yachtsman Steakhouse. I've had a couple of times and I find the flavor to be good, but it's just like so heavy that I could only have a couple of spoonfuls and then I'm like just stuffed just from a couple of spoonfuls of soup. But here it's like creamy without being heavy. It's just like perfect in that aspect. And I also feel like it's seasoned so well. It's like not overly salty and not overly seafoody. Like it has that great seafood lobster broth flavor, but it's not overly seafoody and salty. And you get that flavor from the chive oil, the chunks of lobster, which we've got right here. I just think it's so well balanced, so well seasoned, and perfectly creamy. And since it's not so heavy, we were talking about the size and how it's such a tiny bowl of soup. Since it isn't overly heavy, this is a bowl of lobster bisque that I could eat a lot of. Like, there's not many lobster bisques that I could eat a big bowl of. This is one of them. I really think this is like my favorite lobster bisque on property. For me, it's a must order when I'm coming to Flying Fish. And one thing that I like to do here is grab a piece of bread, cut myself off a little piece, and go for a dunk in this soup. Let it soak up all those flavors because we've got such a great bread and such a great soup. It's even better together. The perfect combo. It's gonna drip on me again. Well, we are going to be having a lot of seafood tonight, so I wanted to get something to share with those who may not like seafood and are watching this video. So I decided to order a second starter. I got the slow roasted pork belly BLT. This has a sweet tomato conserva, a brioche melba, and creamed lolo rosa for $19. This presentation here is definitely way different than the last time I had it. They say they change it up about every 6 months or so, how they serve this pork belly, but like I said, it's always like a fan favorite dish on the menu, and I totally missed that like BLT nod, but yeah, it's like a deconstructed fancy BLT. We've got our bread with our tomato, and then we've got our bacon, our pork belly on top. We've got some onions, some chives on top of there. And we've got almost like our lettuce and some other tomatoes on there. So it sounds really, really interesting. I do love pork belly, and I think this is like one of the only non-seafood things on the appetizer menu other than like the salad and the gazpacho. So if you're wanting something with meat that is not seafood, this is pretty much your only option. I'm not sure the best way to go about eating this though, and also moment of appreciation for the silverware. I always love the silverware here at Flying Fish. The attention to detail on it is just so cool, but do I like cut into it? Are you supposed to pick it up? I'm not quite sure, but I guess we'll just like cut ourselves off a piece of our bread with our pork belly here. It looks really good. I hope our pork belly like isn't too fatty. It should always be a little bit fatty, but it should always be a little crisp as well. This is interesting. The first thing I tasted on this was the sauce that's on top of the pork belly, and it's kind of like a sweet barbecue sauce, and I did really enjoy the sauce. I'm not really quite sure how I felt about everything else, and looking at this pork belly, it kind of just looks like uncooked bacon to me. Like, it doesn't look like typical like cooked pork belly, if that makes sense. I want to just try a bite of the pork belly on its own without the whole bread setup. I think the flavor is good because it's like smoky, and I really do enjoy that sauce on the top because again, it's smoky and sweet, and I enjoy these like crispy onions on top as well. But the toast on the bottom is throwing me off, and the cook on the pork belly is throwing me off as well. It's not crispy, and it's just like, it's not like fatty and chewy, but it's also not like meaty pork belly. And it's also not the kind of pork belly that's like fatty and juicy that like melts in your mouth and is just like succulent and delicious. It's thin cut. It really just reminds me of cooked bacon, and I cannot get behind it. Like, do you see what I mean here? Like, I don't know. This just doesn't look like any pork belly that I've had before. this is probably one of my least favorite presentations of the pork belly that I have had from this restaurant. That's not to say the other ones aren't great, because like I said, they change this up often. So when you come here, there's a very good chance that it won't be this pork belly BLT that I am having. There's a good chance it will be different. So I do recommend you try it if it is not this. But I gotta say, I am unfortunately not a fan of this, which is really surprising because I've had this many, many times and I have always enjoyed it. This is the first time. I just haven't been much of a fan. So I don't know what's going on. I also think there's like barely any meat on here for about $20. So value's not really there. If I'm paying $20 for an appetizer, I'm going Lobster Bisque any day. Yeah, this isn't for me. Unfortunately, it's a miss. But now onto the entrees, and like I said, I had to go with the potato-wrapped red snapper. This is served with a leek fondue and a red wine reduction for $60. Now, before a couple of weeks ago, I hadn't ordered this snapper, like I said, in so long, because I just kept coming back and ordering the strip steak because I loved it. And I was like, you know what? This steak is so good. Why would I shy away from it? But when I tried it a couple of weeks ago, I remembered why this restaurant is known for this dish, and I fell in love with this dish again. And I was like, you know, this might be one of the best seafood dishes on property, and I can't wait to have it again. Before I dig into this fish, I gotta give you guys a little ASMR of this potato crust on the outside. You guys gotta hear just how crunchy this is. Do you hear that? Crazy. Now we've got our fish served on top of our leek fondue and our different sauces, and you may be thinking like, leek fondue, well, I don't really want that as my side, but guys, trust me, do not switch it up. This leek fondue, it might even make the dish. It might make the dish. It is, I can't say enough good things about it. It is so good. And this light is shining in from the window and making this snapper look almost majestic here. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to dig into this. I might give you guys a little more potato snapper ASMR. Are you ready for it? Oh my god, did you see how juicy that was? The perfect bite. Well, I cannot wait, guys. I'm in heaven. Pure bliss right now. Oh my gosh. This dish is just absolute perfection. There's nothing I would change about it. Wow. I need to go right back in for another bite. Holy cow. Okay, there are so many different flavors and components to this dish, but let's just start with the fish. The potato on the outside just tastes like the most perfect kettle-cooked potato chip. It is so crispy. I mean, you guys heard how crispy it was. The outside is just cooked to perfection, and texturally, it's incredible. And then when you get inside to the fish, it's so juicy, so flaky, but the snapper is also like meaty at the same time. And it's not fishy at all. Like, to the point where I feel like if you did not eat seafood and you did not like fish, like, there is a very high chance you would like this. In fact, when I was here with my dad, I was like, Dad, please try this. He does not like seafood at all, by the way. He like actually will not eat it. And I was like, Dad, I think you might like this. Do you want to try it? And he was like so close to trying it. He actually said, I haven't been this close to trying seafood in a while just because it looks so good. He almost tried it. But I really think if you don't like seafood, there's a chance you might like this because it doesn't have any like strong seafoody kind of essences, and the snapper is truly very meaty. And it's a big piece of fish. Like, this is going to fill you up. I don't know if the videos are doing justice just how big this piece of fish is, but man, this is a big hunk of fish here. And I've got to imagine it's pretty hard to cook this dish because you've got to get the fish cooked to where it's not overcooked and it's still juicy and tender and flaky, but then you've got to get the outside cooked to where it's like crispy enough. And they just do it right here every single time. And that fish, I'm telling you guys, it is phenomenal. But what makes this dish even better is when you get a bite of everything all together. We'll go back to that leek fondue that I was talking about in the beginning. That leek fondue that this fish is served on top of, man, it is so good. The leeks are kind of mixed in with some green onions, and I feel like that adds a ton of really great flavor. And the sauces that are underneath the leeks, that red wine au jus and that like kind of creamy sauce, add almost like an umami flavor when you kind of mix everything together. Man, you got to get a bite with the sauce, with the leeks, with the fish. Amazing. Now, I know we're all about the snapper tonight, but we're here at Flying Fish. I also have to talk about the Char Crusted New York strip steak while we're here, because as I mentioned, I think it is probably a top 3 steak at Walt Disney World. The seasoning that they put on the outside adds such a unique flavor, and it is truly unlike any other steak that you'll find on property. It's always cooked to absolute perfection, and sometimes if you're lucky and you prefer a cut of filet to a strip steak and you ask them to char crust your filet, they are able to do that as well. But if you're coming to Flying Fish and you're craving a steak or you don't eat seafood, that is definitely the way to go. But what I think is actually the way to go is coming with someone else and one person ordering the snapper, one person ordering the strip steak, and going half-seas, cutting them in half and sharing the snapper and the steak. So that way you get like the best of both worlds, because in my opinion, those are the 2 best entrees on the menu, and you really can't go wrong with either of them. But really, recently, if I had to pick one, I have just been loving the snapper so much that I really think I would pick the snapper. But the strip steak is also phenomenal. So if you're coming with someone else, see if you could split them. But if I'm picking one, these days I'm going snapper. But guys, I am absolutely stuffed. I told you, if you don't think this is a big piece of fish, this'll do you in. This is like, usually you get like a fish dish because it's a little bit lighter and stuff, but no, this is like a heavier fish meal. And you know, it doesn't like, I guess it comes with a starch because it's wrapped in potato, but it doesn't come with like, you know, like mashed potatoes or anything like that. You just get the leek. So you would think it would be lighter, but no. Oh my gosh. I am so full. I don't even know if I got a couple more bites left of fish. I don't even know if I can finish it, and I gotta save room because we still have to order dessert. It's so funny because as people walk by the window, they don't know that there's actually people in here, because from the outside you cannot see inside. So people just come right up to the window and put their face on it. It's kind of funny, but let's take a look over this dessert menu here. And the desserts here are pretty much always changing. So I have not tried any of these actually. They've got a chocolate hazelnut bar on top. They have a caramelized cheesecake, which I've been hearing a lot of really good things about. They have a lemonade mousse, which I hear is good, but I'm a little worried because it reminds me a lot of like a dome cake, and you guys know my feelings on dome cakes, so I'm a little bit scared to try it, although I do love lemon, so I don't know. They also have some strawberries and cream, which is the plant-based option, and then they've got a cheese board as well. They have some dessert cocktails. This peanut butter freeze actually sounds really good. It's got like peanut butter and banana. Wow, I'm like kind of tempted. And then there's that espresso martini I was talking about earlier. It's different because it actually is served with like a lemon twist, which I hear is like fancy way to kind of serve like Italian coffee, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're in the mood for an espresso martini and you don't want to head upstairs to the Bellevue Lounge and grab one for Megan after your meal, they do have a good one here that I really enjoy. So I decided to go with the caramelized cheesecake. It's got salted caramel, chantilly cream, and elements of blueberry for $14. I have had people go as far as telling me that this cheesecake is better than, wait for it, the almond crusted cheesecake from Narcoossee's, and you know, that is my favorite dessert on Disney property, potentially my favorite dessert ever. That almond crusted cheesecake at Narcoossee's is unbelievable. So I have very, very high hopes for this. And here at Flying Fish, they're changing up their desserts all of the time. So I'm not sure how much longer this one here is going to be staying around. Hopefully, if it's good, it'll be here a long time. But who knows? We're going to dig in here. Presentation is beautiful, very impressive. We've got like a sugar-coated blueberry. We've got some like crumbs, and it's in like a little circle, encrusted in some chocolate with some gold flakes and everything. I'm gonna grab a piece of like this cheesecake, and then we'll dip it in some of that cream and maybe like the crumbs on the bottom as well. Seems to be very creamy. Let's see how it tastes. This is definitely really good, but really different from the Narcoossee's cheesecake. This cheesecake here is more of a New York style cheesecake. I definitely feel like it's made with ricotta, and it's not as creamy as the Narcoossee's one. Like that one is like silky smooth. This one is more of that like kind of gritty ricotta texture. I happen to like both of those styles of cheesecake, so I like this one as well. This is kind of more of the style that my mom makes cheesecake at home, so it's like kind of reminding me of that a little bit. And we've got like a little bit of like the burnt edges on the top and the bottom, which I happen to like that flavor in a cheesecake, and it almost has like a little bit of like saltiness from the caramel, which I really enjoy that flavor. And I think the crumbs on the bottom, when you get a little bit of those crumbs in there with it, it adds a really good texture. I'm always big on textures. I like a little bit of a crunch in like every bite of food that I have, whether it's a dessert or an entree, whether it's sweet or savory. I like a little bit of a crunch, and this has it in those crumbs. I think the caramel plays really, really well with all of those flavors. And similar to me liking a crunch in my dessert, I also always love when a sweet has a little bit of a salty bite to it, and this has that as well. So I really like this dessert. I'd actually say it's probably one of the better desserts that I've had at Flying Fish. I know it said like there were blueberries. There was like an essence of blueberries, and I think there's like one sugar-coated blueberry, and then there's like maybe some like blueberry fruit leather on here. I don't think it's really like necessary, and I don't know how that like pairs with caramel, but this is a delicious cheesecake. I really, really enjoy this, and yeah, I would definitely say I hope this sticks around for a while, because I would definitely be getting this again if so. Well, what an absolutely delicious dinner, to no surprise. Like I said, Flying Fish is one of my favorite signature restaurants on property, and I have a feeling a lot of you watching this video probably have not dined there yet. So again, this is your sign to make a reservation at Flying Fish and check it out. You know, it is on the pricier end of Disney restaurants, but every so often you need to treat yourself, and if you're going to treat yourself, Flying Fish is a great option to do so at. Order the Lobster Bisque, order the potato crusted snapper, order the char crusted strip steak, order the cheesecake if it's there when you dine there. I really love this restaurant, and I think you need to check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you to everyone over on Patreon for your support. I appreciate all of you guys. If you enjoy honest Disney food reviews, I am always going to give them to you, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.